Version 4.1. Initializing upgrades. Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host. I'm Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And this is episode number 385. Can you believe we're only 15 episodes away from episode 400, and we are 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away from the anniversary episode. December 2nd, 2012 is when this show began. Can you believe it's already been 4 years? I can't. And something else that, also started about 4 years ago was the 2016 presidential election, because it seems like those things begin, as soon as one election is over, and there's already, hell, there's been for a year or so people, starting campaigns for 2020. So that is already beginning. And, elections, even though I participate in them, they can be mentally exhausting. They can be tiring. There's a reason that, there's this saying that, people wind up getting burnt out because they wind up, just putting so much effort and energy into it for so little reward. And at some point they're like, it's just not worth it anymore. And then they're tired. They're like, I do not have the energy to do this anymore. And, well, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about something sort of related. Not necessarily, politics per se, but it kind of fits. And I had talked about this a little bit on Monday, and I said that I was going to probably discuss it today. Now, the article, or the title of the article from one source is How to Be Mentally Strong When People Put You Down. But then they also wind up giving it a different title within the same post, so it's really weird. So if you type in the URL, or you click the link that will be in the show notes, then up at the top of the page, and I don't know if you've ever noticed this before, but at the very top of your web browser, it will tell you the title of the article or the website or the web page that you're on. So at the top it says How to Be Mentally Strong When People Put You Down. But within the article itself, or on the page itself, it has another title, No One Can Make You Feel Inferior Without Your Consent. And that sort of seems to be an oversimplification, but it's a quote from, I believe, Eleanor Roosevelt. But let me jump into this article because, again, I mentioned it on Monday, and it fits in with the whole, just getting worn down sort of thing. Because you can be worn down from stuff other than various activities. So if you wake up every morning and you have somebody just, yelling insults at you, the first thing you hear, eventually you're just going to be emotionally beaten down. And some people will say, well, you can, choose to blah, blah, blah. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe you try to walk away from the situation, but they follow you. So, let's just say that you're walking down the street and somebody is following you and yelling insults at you. You're not, putting yourself in the situation to where they're yelling at you. Yeah, certainly, you chose to walk down the sidewalk, but I find that to be, just an utterly ridiculous claim that, you are consenting to someone insulting you. But let me actually get into this, and again, I'll, in the show notes, use what I feel to be the better title of this article. is how to be mentally strong when people put you down. The article begins, "Nothing hinders achievement and accomplishment like feeling inferior and acting without confidence. Unfortunately, most feelings of inferiority and lack of confidence come from a lifetime of other people telling us that we can't or that we aren't good enough." So where does this criticism come from? The truth is that once you realize that these issues come from tiny comments made by others, they actually seem pretty silly. The changing course becomes easy, and changing course becomes easy. If overcoming your feelings of inferiority is a process, then step one is figuring out where these feelings come from and understanding why it's silly to let anyone make you feel a certain way. And there's another link, another article that I will post the link in the show notes, and it's titled, "Why Mentally Strong People Seldom Respond to Insults." And it seems as though, there's the people, let's call them internet trolls. Sometimes they're, in real life, but basically they're internet trolls. They're the people that will say or do a thing with the sole purpose of getting a response. And if you don't respond to their insults, then they'll start, saying things about, "Oh, well, why aren't you saying anything, huh? You a wimp? You a pansy? Huh? And then they just, start egging you on, trying to get a response. And if you don't respond, they call you weak. If you do respond, they call you weak. So it's one of those things of, no matter what you do. But, well, actually, again, according to some research here, people that are mentally strong seldom respond to insults. Let's continue with this original article. They say the concept stems from two different ideas. That is the concept of figuring out where the feelings come from and understanding why it can be kind of silly to allow other people to manipulate your feelings and your emotions. It comes from two ideas. First, be sure to separate the event from the subjective way you feel about it. When you say that person insulted me and it hurt, it's two things. First, the person insulted you. That happened. There's no way around it. The second is, and it hurt. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Now, I'm going to respond here to what they wrote. The author here says, separate the event from the subjective way you feel about it. When you say that person insulted me and it hurt, there's two things. There's the insult, the act, and then there's the feeling, and it hurt. The author of this article says that's up to you. Well, here's the thing. Just because you think that what you said did not hurt somebody does not mean that it did not hurt them. And yes, some people can choose to not be insulted. They can choose to, oh, no, doesn't matter that the person called me a POS and all of these other things. Nope, absolutely fine. I'm happy and, keep saying whatever. But not everybody's brain works the same way. I'm not going to say that those people are mentally weak, because that's to deny or try to put some sort of, definition of strength and weakness. Not everybody's brain works the same way. Just like there's a lot of different personality types and people don't respond to things the same way. If 5 people with different personality types, and I know some people will say there's 16 personality types, but whatever. Getting 16 people together for lunch is going to be a little bit more difficult and whatever. So let's just say there's 5 people with different personality types that go to lunch together. And the waiter or the waitress messes up everybody's order. There's going to be several different responses to that. That does not mean that the person that gets upset with the waiter for, hey, you totally screwed up my order, that doesn't mean that they're mentally weak. That just means that their brain is, not the same as everybody else's, and nobody's brain. The person that's like, oh, hey, waiter, thanks, you goofed up my order. Now I get to try a dish I've never had before. That person's brain responds differently than the other people at the table. Different does not mean better or worse. Allow me to continue. The article, and I'm going to skip down just a little bit instead of continuing in the middle of a paragraph. They say it's also important to consider the source of the insult. Face it, most insults don't come from your best friend or your significant other, and if they do, you need to reevaluate those relationships. Insults come from the smug coworker, the cynical friend, the adult bully. And I'm glad they call that out, the adult bully. Those are the people, the internet trolls, if you will, the people that will say and do things to try to get a response. Because they can't figure out how to lift themselves up, so they're going to pull everybody else down. And again, there's the article that I will post in the show notes titled, Why Mentally Strong People Seldom Respond to Insults. So what's the saying? F the haters? Well, no, ignore them, or at least attempt to ignore the haters. The article continues. There's a common thread between all of these people. That's the smug coworker, the cynical friend, and the adult bully, a.k.a. the internet troll. They're all the kinds of people who themselves lack confidence or are sad or lonely. Being smug, cynical, and mean is simply a defense mechanism. They don't want people to see their shortcomings, so they highlight the faults of others. This is pretty sad, and you should feel sorry for these people. Again, they're the people that instead of trying to build something themselves, they want to tear down what others have built. They're the guy at the beach that when they see your sandcastle, instead of saying, wow, I want to build that, they knock yours over. They're the bullies. They're the internet trolls. The article continues, how to be mentally strong. They say mentally strong people can prevent so much grief and are ready to accomplish so much more because they understand the criticism for what it is. A sad, lonely person's reflection of themselves. Not only do strong people let insults slide off, but they respond by being kind-hearted and helping to lift the bully up, attempting to not only keep themselves above water, but to pull others up with them as well. The author says the next time someone tries to make you feel inferior, you're probably going to get upset, but at some point while you're processing the insult, you're going to remember this article. He says, then I want you to stop, breathe, and consider what the insult really is. On one level, the insult is simply a string of words. And he says words can affect you, but that's not true. Words absolutely can affect people, and they do affect people. And to say that they can't is to be dismissive of people's feelings and to not understand the way the human psyche works. There have been studies, and I don't have any of them in front of me, but I have read the studies before, where mental anguish is processed in the brain the same way as physical pain. If you don't believe me, look it up. Again, I've read the studies. People have been, put in the what is that? The MRI or the CAT scan thing to where it measures brain activity through some kind of thing, and they've had physical pain inflicted upon them, not like torturous pain of I'm going to break your leg, but like pinpricks or something to where the brain will respond. Oh, there's some pain here. And they measure, this is what fires up in the brain when this happens. Let's see what happens this other way. And then they'll, do something to cause mental anguish. And, the psychological pain, if you will. The stuff that's not actually aggression, according to some people. And the brain responds the exact same way. So to say that words can't hurt or words can't affect is to not understand the way the brain works. But the author does make a really good point, is that the people that are going to insult you, the people that are going to try to put you down, are the people that, they can't lift themselves up. And that's the only way that they can feel better about themselves. So it says more about that other person than it says about you. Now, how can you, and we're going to switch gears here just a little bit, but not too terribly much. How can you improve your self-confidence? Well, I've got 10 ways, or at least the article from Archetypes lists 10 ways. I'll share it with you next here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. 10 solid ways to improve your self-confidence. And, this is something, self-esteem is something that I've struggled with, I would say, pretty much my entire life. And I don't necessarily know why. But, there's reasons that everybody struggles with self-confidence in one way or another. And if anybody tells you that they don't have, some sort of struggle with self-confidence, I would dare say they're lying. But I digress and jump into the article. People with self-confidence have solid belief. They don't simply show up and act the part by inspiring others. They also have a likable personality that is admired. Of course, to have self-confidence doesn't mean you have to, or rather, it doesn't mean you don't have fears. Rather, you can face these fears and look past the obstacles the world presents you. When things go wrong, self-confident people still possess inner satisfaction and peace at the actions that they have taken to deal with a matter. Self-confident people are positive people, and they add value to the world. You can be self-confident too. Here are 10 solid ways to improve your self-confidence. Number 1 is be kind. An ideal way to improve your self-image is to give a piece of yourself, your time, and your resources. Such will make you feel good about yourself and appreciate your strong qualities. Now, I don't consider this to be something that would improve self-confidence. I consider that to be something that makes you a decent human being. You know, the type of person that you should be. Like, it should not be some kind of, gold, you get a gold star because you weren't an a-hole today. Like, that's just how you should be. Number 2, they say dress right. When you dress right, and they don't clarify what that means, but they say when you dress right, you surely will feel better about yourself. Play the part you want by dressing ideally for it. Now, there's the joke where it says, my boss told me to dress for the job I want, and now I'm sitting in his office getting reprimanded for dressing like Batman. What exactly do they mean by quote-unquote dress right? Some people will say this means wear a suit and tie. Well, not every job requires wearing a suit and tie, and I would dare say that if the janitor were walking around in a suit and a tie, he would look rather silly scrubbing toilets, and it would not be very comfortable, because suits are not comfortable, right? Can we just admit that wearing a button-up jacket is not a comfortable thing? But for some reason, society has this thing of, if you are wearing a suit, then, blah, 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 you're better than the guy wearing sweatpants. And I would dare say that, no, that's not true at all. It just means that, maybe you had a whole bunch of money to go get, a tailored suit that doesn't feel absolutely weird. Like, I feel very constrained wearing dress pants. And I feel constrained wearing a jacket. But there are certain occasions where I will put those on, like when I go testify to the State House, but it's not a comfortable thing to wear. I'm not going to put that on to ride my bike to the gym, to then take those clothes off and put on a pair of gym shorts and a t-shirt to work out, only to put a suit back on to ride my bike back home. I'm not going to do that. It's absolutely asinine and ludicrous. I'm not going to, put on a suit to walk down to the post office. That is ridiculous. But I continue. They say when you look good and take care of your personal appearance, you are sure to have an improved outlook and a positive self-image. I kind of agree, but not necessarily. Certainly, put on clean clothes. Sure, you'll feel a little better when you put on clean clothes, but you don't have to put on a suit and a tie and a jacket every single day for everything. Next on the list, be positive. Thinking positive and surrounding yourself with positive people will make you feel better about yourself. People will also love the way you go about your task and enjoy the company as well, or rather enjoy your company as well when you avoid negative self-talk. And I'll agree with this one. So if you have a positive outlook on things, then certainly you're going to wind up, feeling better a little bit. People are going to, not be like, oh, who's the Eeyore over there? Even though, Eeyore had friends too. Be prepared. They say when you feel confident about your abilities, or rather you will feel confident about your abilities when you have prepared for the challenge that is before you. You will be impressed with yourself when you have put in the work and eradicated any self-doubts. And again, this is something that, I'm good with a lot of, outside the comfort zone stuff. And some people would say, well, then it's not really outside your comfort zone if you're comfortable with it. But, I ran a triathlon last summer with very little preparation beforehand. Yes, it was mentally, it took a mental toll on me during the thing. But afterwards, it was, all right, I did it. But the thing that, is very challenging for me is in the dating realm. The one thing that I fear the most is rejection. And they say, well, to get over the fear, you have to, be around the thing a lot. Well, I'll tell you what, being rejected does not get any easier. the more it happens, it doesn't get any easier. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Hey, this is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've been working with computer programmer Derek Slopey to create Fiend Phone. I'm using Fiend Phone right now to talk with and record one of my co-hosts in real time. Take it, Davi.
Hey, this is Davi Barker, and I'm 1,000 miles away from Michael, but we sound like we're in the same room.
We sure do, Davi. So, Davi, please tell the nice people more about Fiend Phone.
Fiend Phone is free, open-source software that opens up a global world of possibilities for collaborative, high-quality remote voice media production, and I'm digging it.
People can try the Windows beta version of Fiend Phone right now at fiendphone.com. But we're also raising money to vastly improve Fiend Phone and vastly improve independent talk media worldwide.
So go to fiendphone.com to help out. Who will build the audio roads? We will, with your help.
That's fiendphone.com. FEENPHONE.com. Foxtrot, Echo, November, phone.com.
Fiend Phone. I never knew remote audio could be this good.
This is Paige Peterson from MaidSafe, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Going through the list of 10 ways to improve your self-confidence. We got through about half of them, I think. I'll continue here without getting sidetracked, if you will. They say be assertive when you speak. Successful people tend to speak slowly and assertively. This indicates self-confidence. Now, I was always told that if you speak slowly, it indicates that you're stupid. But apparently, the author of this article says that speaking slowly and assertively, and I don't know what the difference between slowly and assertively and just somebody that speaks a little slower would be, but they're saying that speaking slowly and assertively indicates self-confidence. But again, I was always told, growing up, was always told that speaking slowly is a sign of being an idiot. It wasn't put exactly that way, but, basically, if you talk slow, you're not exactly as smart as other people. Be proactive. When you take action and act the part, you will be breeding courage and confidence rather than fear and doubt. A little bit more written there, but I'll continue. Show gratitude. While showing gratitude and being thankful is a humbling activity, you will be improving your self-image when you can look back and appreciate those wonderful things that have happened in your life. Keep a journal or find an outlet to be reminded of those things that are working for you. Seek knowledge. That's the 8th thing out of 10 ways to improve your self-confidence. Ignorance does not boost confidence. But when you can empower yourself with knowledge, you can show competence and relevance when you express your opinion. Do your study and research, make the effort. It's hard not to be valued when you possess knowledge and show you are smart. Exercise is number 9 on the list. Exercising empowers your mind and helps you make a positive outlook on life. You are mentally charged and feel good about your body. People may ignore the need to exercise, but you can't just negate the power of exercising and how much it improves your self-worth. And number 10 on the list, and this is something that we spent about a week and a half talking about, bad habits. Fight and win a bad habit. Defeat a bad habit. Take it one step at a time and fight a habit that you are not proud of. Could be smoking, it could be eating unhealthily, or it could be procrastinating. You can fight poor habits or replace them with good ones that you are proud of. When you do this, you will feel better about yourself. That's been Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, episode 385. Don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those over ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.